Thank you very much. Starting first with the Turkish media, the condemnation of the bombing. In our statement, we are very clear that we condemn the bombing of a hospital. And we know that Jihad and Hamas have distanced themselves from reports that they were part of the bombing of the hospital. It is Israel's account that the hospital was bombed by Jihad. It doesn't seem like there is evidence to that extent. There's been a lot of contradictions. First, what we know is that in this mass evacuation, that hospital was targeted by Israeli Defense Force and gave an order that that hospital must be evacuated. And there were conflicting reports later on, before the bombing, where there was a statement that in the hospital there are Hamas people who have hidden themselves inside the hospital. And then immediately after that, when we wake up late yesterday, it was followed by massive bombing. And then the account for that is that it was rockets fired by Hamas out of the hospital, and whether in the exchange of fire on to try to neutralize those rockets, then you don't know whether an account of it means that Israel Defense Force then attacked the hospital. But the fact we know is that people were ordered to evacuate. And in this particular instance, we condemn the bombing, and we think that the world must descend through the United Nations to Palestine and see humanitarian disaster that is going on there. And the actions of the Israeli government led by Netanyahu, which have led to the killing of innocent people. The ANC have condemned the killing of people in Israel. We don't and will never stand on the side of acts of terror and killing of innocent people. Our allies in Palestine is PLO and the Palestinian people in general for their self-determination. We are in support of the Palestinian people because in our view, which we have held over time, they are oppressed people. They are subjected to apartheid, and we have been firm about it over the years. Even before Nelson Mandela pronounced on it, speaking right from Ramallah, the ANC cannot and will never be on the side of those who perpetrate violence and those who perpetrate apartheid and those who perpetrate the oppression of the Palestinian people. We are and we will be forever for the self-determination of the people of Palestine, who deserve a state, which we have said, two states living side by side. And that is what we have worked for over the years. So we condemn the bombing. We join the communities of the world in condemning the bombing in Gaza, worst of all, the bombing of a hospital. Our statement is very clear what we are calling for. We are calling for the investigation of these acts of terror by Israel, and at the same time, penalties must be imposed to anyone. There is a penalty imposed on the Russian president because of what is happening in Ukraine. We must stop this hypocrisy. Putin could not even come to our country because he was the International Criminal Court have imposed a sentence that he must be arrested. And that is what it is. What is happening in terms of Israel and Palestinian? A state declaring war and killing innocent people. And that is what, as the ANC, we are opposed to. On Hamas and Israel government, and in particular Hamas going to ICC and not Israel. That is the hypocrisy that the world need to stand up to. We need a rules-based system in which through the United Nations we have got to lead from the front and ensure that the hypocrisy that we have seen in the world unfolding in the conflicts that we have seen over the years must be thwarted off and be dealt with decisively. And that is why we call for the Secretary General to visit Palestine and to show this solidarity. And the extent of humanitarian and human rights violations we are seeing there, it is something else. And we as South Africa, and in particular the ANC, we are in solidarity with the people of Palestine. We condemn the genocidal actions that have been undertaken by a state of Israel against the innocent Palestinian people. Daylight for the world to see and declare genocide. People must not have water. People must move, evacuating 1 million people at a go. What is that? That is genocide. And in our view, and that is what we stand against.